Have you ever wondered about the origin of aliens, ghosts, or demons? Have you ever asked your priest or pastor if the Bible can explain these things, only to come away with no real answers? Well, I don't know about you, but I have. So, I've spent 15 years researching these topics, and I've come away with a very compelling explanation for many of the world's mysteries. I'd like to start a conversation about the things your pastor is afraid to talk about. This is Audra Moore, and you're listening to Evil's Ancient Origins. Hi, this is my special guest, Duncan Moore, and we are here to talk a little bit about something that's sort of outside of the purview of my channel, but there are little bits and pieces that are sort of cohesive with the topics that I like to cover. So one of the main important things that we wanted to discuss was the 50th birthday book of Jeffrey Epstein. So that'll be the main topic, but there are some interesting correlations with science and technology that I'd like to cover as well. So Duncan, would you like to sort of go into what you found in the book?
Yeah, for sure. So I've been doing my own research on this book, and it seems like it was kind of swept under the rug. Like, it was overshadowed by a lot of other,
major events
that might have happened around, September 10th and 11th. So, given that, it feels like people haven't focused enough on this book that has a lot of kind of important things that need to be discussed, especially pertaining to the Epstein case. And I mean, everybody's asking for that, release of the files. I mean, Kash Patel was just recently kind of in a whole court hearing about it. So,
and so here they've released something. The Oversight Committee has released a 50th birthday book that a lot of people haven't even heard of. And it was overshadowed by, a tragic event, of course, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, which, our heart goes out to the family, and we're praying for them, especially those babies.
Definitely.
But it's interesting how things occur to sort of dominate the headlines when something like this happens.
Exactly.
And so let's jump in.
Definitely. So let's see what we have here. So PBS is actually the people who started to kind of release this. I mean, it was definitely the House Oversight Committee, and they released it to the media, but PBS are the ones that started to report on it, especially on the date of
Isn't that interesting?
September 10th.
PBS, who was defunded
by
Trump.
So, very interesting. Maybe they're just kind of like, they know they're getting defunded, so may as well just release everything they can.
Right. They have no allegiance now, right?
Exactly.
They don't have to worry about the government defunding them. I mean, it's already happened.
For sure. So this is a wonderful picture up here at Mar-a-Lago, as you can tell, but we'll get into that later.
Right.
So we have this full book. It's actually, if you find the article yourself, you can, I would actually highly recommend taking a look through it. It is over 200 something pages though, so be aware. And so we got...
It is lengthy, and I've looked through the whole thing. I pretty much read it all.
Yeah, so... I mean, it doesn't take too long, but it definitely has some crazy things in there, and including this first image that we pop up with.
Yeah, this is like one of the first images in the book, and it was compiled by Ghislaine Maxwell, right?
Yes.
And Ghislaine Maxwell is a partner, a lifelong partner. Well, I don't know about lifelong,
More
but a long-time partner.
Bonnie to his Clyde,
Right.
So. But yeah, she is. I mean, she's currently being processed for the crimes.
Exactly.
So
didn't she get? So you had mentioned something about her getting a special.
It was kind of like a plea deal in a way.
Right?
They lowered her security clearance, like the security level of the prison that she's in.
Okay,
and
they moved her to a lower security facility.
And they even gave her like full immunity to talk, and she still didn't disclose anything more than she had already disclosed, but hopefully
that we're aware of, right?
necessarily. I mean, but she talked a lot about Bill Clinton, who we'll see in this book actually makes an appearance. So but this image right here is very striking to me. I mean, doesn't that look like it's like out of a James Bond movie or something? Like
yes, CIA or something,
CIA,
right?
MI6.
I mean, it's kind of not a common thing. Some dude in a suit standing in the middle of, I don't know, maybe the Congo and the jungle or some, who knows where he's at. But
definitely military presence around him and
exactly
government related, foreign government related, most likely.
Foreign government. Yeah. You know what it makes me think of the book Confessions of an Economic Hitman.
Oh, okay.
You've got to read this book. Oh my gosh, right. Anyway, so let's move on.
For sure. So he had an interesting life. He definitely had like
he was a musical prodigy.
Yeah.
At a very young age, he's playing on stage with his accordion.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't see those very often.
Not anymore, anyway.
But yeah, so he didn't have the most wealthy upbringing.
Right.
We kind of see sort of his life. We see a lot of pictures. Is that him and Ghislaine?
Yeah, it is.
Wow. So I mean, they've known each other for a while. He does look a little older in this image, but
yeah.
I'm sure they met
early. The book is it's compiled of Ghislaine had reached out to people in his life, including his father and mother, and asked them to provide stories about his, just memories or pictures and things that they could talk about, and she could compile this 50th birthday book that he would be able to look back on.
And this is 2003.
Okay,
so this is he was born in 53, I'm guessing, so 1953. So 50 years later, 2003.
Right.
He didn't get his conviction until 2008, I believe.
Okay, so this is
2008
about 5 years.
It's 5 years before that first conviction. So he's still kind of not
free-spirited.
Yeah.
Feels like he can get away with anything.
Whatever he can. So we see a lot of things. You see his grandfather. His father is one of these. And
and there's
him and his dad and his brother. And him and his mom and dad. So a lot of it is kind of like images and notes to the family. They definitely.
And from what I can gather, his father was they're not a wealthy family. His father actually had a hard time holding a job. There, he mentions in his letter to his son that he, just went sort of chronologically through history of what his life was.
Yeah.
And so, but that opens the door for the question of
where did his wealth come from?
Did he and how did he get the advantages that he did? It seems as though he went to very
wealthy connections.
Yeah,
and powerful people.
The education he got, he went to private schools. It talks about that sort of thing, and the gifted program, and so
I mean, the gifted program has been talked about recently too,
right,
with the whole it feels like
what was it, the Gateway Project?
Yeah,
or, is that what they were calling
or CIA documents about just like testing on MK Ultra, all that sort of stuff, testing children for their kind of extra abilities. You know?
Their acumen to see if they were gifted, and they weren't keeping track, almost as if the government was keeping track of
anybody who showed signs of
gifted
abilities.
Right.
Have some sort.
Whatever that looks like.
Whatever that might be, whatever they were looking for. But yes.
So the question is, was he one of those? Maybe this project has been going on long before we even, think.
I mean, he probably had some access to, better resources without being wealthy. Like maybe the government gave him these benefits,
scholarships or something to go to the special school.
I have seen Seagate pop up a lot. I didn't do too much research in that, but I did notice it being kind of interesting. Pizza Man.
Whoa.
Makes you think. But there's a lot of just like personal documents and images. I did notice
his friends. So there's some really interesting stories that his friends have to tell about him.
I mean, this is one that I find crazy. Like, talking about going on a boat, picking up girls, threatening them at knife point to take off their clothes.
Yeah.
And joking about it, which I find that very disturbing.
It is disturbing.
It shows his character, you know.
Yeah. So this would have been Queens in the 1970s, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, there's no excuse. I'm not making excuses, but I do want to say that society was a little different back then.
Definitely.
You know, the surveillance state wasn't quite what it is today, and so people felt emboldened to do whatever they wanted.
True.
And women, of course, did not have the status that they have now. Luckily, things have changed a little bit in that area, and there's a little more respect for women than there was in those days.
Yeah.
So I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. And that might fuel some of his kind of what he later went on to do, like feeling like he can get away with a lot more because he kind of grew up in an era that accepted that.
Right.
And I mean, look at his shirt. What's on his shirt? It looks like baby hands.
Right. Young children's handprints in paint. It doesn't look like it was it looks like they painted black handprints on, you know, like a pack of undershirts that they bought at Walmart, right? Yeah. This is a homemade shirt. And these are varying sizes of hands, it seems like.
It's very crazy because it looks like it's, I mean, he's younger at this point, so who knows if he's even tied to his whole, you know, connections that he later gains, especially with his island and everything. But at this point, he probably didn't have all the wealth, but who knows if he had the connections. I mean,
as a Corvette behind them,
you know, he definitely has something to go to get his
where did he get the Corvette?
Yeah.
And is it tied to baby handprints?
Baby handprints. I don't know.
Yikes.
Makes you wonder.
Sorry. Oh, God.
That's just some, you know, assumptions we're making. But it does tie in actually to another image that I see up here. I'll come back down in a bit, but there was an image of him with his friends, and it felt very like...
Oh, is that one up there, or is it down at the bottom? I think it might be down at the bottom.
It might be a little bit further down.
Yeah. It's the it's another knife point situation, and that they're joking about.
Exactly. Which it feels, you know, a little scary at times.
It's just crazy that people would feel that they could get away with the things that they did.
And sorry we're kind of scrolling through, but actually I do have, this one's another fun one.
Okay, yeah.
We have him and somebody else, and it says...
Definitely the 80s, I can tell you that.
Yeah, he's a little bit older at this point, and it says he's the boyfriend of Redacted. We think he works for the CIA, which is
interesting.
I mean, that kind of makes us... I mean, we were getting the same impressions by looking at some of these images.
Exactly.
So I wonder if the people around him...
And this is the 80s. True. So that's way before. That's 20 years before he was... Before this book.
Yeah. So even if that at that point, maybe he did something to get connected with intelligence agencies.
Well, and so intelligence agencies are known for, you know, recruiting out of colleges. True. Right? And so... I mean, who knows? Maybe they even start earlier than that. If a person is showing
gifted program,
yeah, exactly.
Which we could actually maybe, you know, talk more about the whole giftedness of himself and his own perception of his giftedness. Because
here's
that image I was looking at. we got a guy. They're both wearing ski masks pretty much, or coverings over their face, and. Epstein's got a gun and this guy's got a knife. Yeah. It could just be like a costume or a prank, but the text is what really feels off. Right. They say, finally at the home of our friend, let's call him Mr. Brown. Jeffrey unveils his plan. To some it may have seemed a get-rich-quick scheme, but to me it was pure genius. Rob and kill was the name of the plan. The first victim, redacted, to be attacked and brutally plundered. Would she want more than that? ? On the boardwalk in Venice Beach. Broad daylight. The dastardly thieves were never caught.
So they feel
like they got away with something. It could be a joke, could be a prank, but maybe to the victim it didn't feel like a prank or a joke. Course not. I mean, lots of people get hazed in college.
I mean, if they got away with it, that's something more than just a prank. This is something that they actually accomplished.
Which makes me think about the whole boat thing,
Rob and kill.
Rob and
kill. They
specifically
specifically say kill.
And yeah, what does that entail? I mean, they say I retired from the life, but I recently read an article in New York which led me to believe that my old friend Mr. E had continued on and became an industry leader.
I retired from the life. I mean, that sounds like somebody who got out of the CIA or something, or was a hitman, or, you know what I mean?
And it's also kind of like people who rob banks and they retire from the life or whatever. So it could be a joke, but it's also kind of like, it's insinuating that, you know, they were a part of some organization or some sort of behavior and they stopped.
It's concerning anyway.
But the fact that they still think that Mr. Epstein is an industry leader, meaning that he's gotten and perfected industry.
This is an industry.
Yeah.
What? That means it's they're being employed by someone else.
Exactly. So, I mean,
this is an interesting shot.
Crazy. It's definitely the 80s. But let me pull up. I actually kind of saved some pages right here. So, starting at the top, these are out of order. So you can see at the bottom it says the page number.
Let me just preface it with the fact that the book is separated into you know, like chapters almost, and this one's under the chapter heading of science.
Yeah. So this is not directly, because I don't want to have to scroll through the entire book, but
of course.
So I kind of pinpointed these pages, and so the first one, it kind of ties to the whole him feeling gifted, and like maybe he had something about him, because here we have like an astrologer, which astrology, you know, it can
esoteric.
It's definitely esoteric.
Yeah.
And it is connected in some circles to what people believe is like very prominent in like determining your destiny, right? You have the whole destinies and stuff, and if you follow your destiny, you kind of gain more out of it through your zodiac. And so, I mean, this analysis says a fiercely intelligent, highly complex individual for whom the accumulation of great wealth is no problem. So he can easily accumulate great wealth, prefers working in private, or better yet, utter secrecy. What sort of work involves utter secrecy? Makes me wonder. Emotionally complicated, can run hot and cold, can lose interest in the blink of an eye, professes to be available, but much goes on behind the scenes, and he decides what he gives. Scientific, humanitarian, philanthropic strength and co-interest, harnessed and developed properly, could have a significant impact, changing the world for the better if he would have.
If that was his moral
only
grounding,
or kind of,
you know, conviction.
Exactly. He's obviously went on to go the other direction.
Right.
Added bonus: beat the current masters at their own game.
Beat
or join them. You know.
Yeah.
Become one of the masters at his point. You know. So it makes me wonder.
Well,
they definitely
but if
have
he's
a lot of that.
being mastered.
True.
By that
someone
implies
else
he's
already
employed,
kind of
being mastered, and his whole intent was to beat the masters at their own game.
And beating them at their own game doesn't necessarily mean beating them and getting rid of them. It might just mean beating them and replacing them with yourself.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Climbing the ladder.
Stepping on some toes.
Which his personality would imply that would be what he's out for.
Exactly. So we have his star chart, which, you know, it is what it is. We have some interesting diagrams.
So this goes into the more scientific aspect.
Yeah, and he was apparently very interested in science and that. And this is an interesting diagram. It talks about like quantum mechanics right here, real meaning of quantum mechanics, and there's
simplicity and controversy. I can't read it from here.
So mind and body. So it's more of like combining, you know, mathematics and human language. And,
evolution of human languages.
Very interesting. So, I don't know. Makes me wonder. E equals MC squared. You know, definitely some science stuff here. But here we finally get to the point of, you know, what I wanted to bring up more was Martin Nowick and Epstein's involvement with Harvard University.
Yes.
So, I mean, you see here it says, you know, Epstein Institute, Harvard University, Mathematics of Life.
Epstein Institute at the Harvard University. So, this is what you were showing me before about the amount of money he had donated, right? Should we touch on that real quick so that we put it into context?
So, when it comes to Harvard University, we have, so this is a document, reports regarding Jeffrey Epstein's connections to Harvard. This is Harvard's kind of way of clearing the air to show that, it's like, oh.
It's not really so bad what we did.
Exactly. Like, they're trying to say, okay, even though we received $9.1 million from Epstein.
Wow.
It was only between 1998 and 2008, which pre-conviction, right?
$9.1 million.
Yes.
That's insane.
It's a lot of money.
To Harvard.
Yeah.
Okay. And Harvard is notorious for, its research and development and the scientific exploits of, whatever is the cutting edge of science today, right?
Definitely. And so he funded people and, $200,000 of gifts were unspent. So this is them kind of like trying to say,
justify.
Hey, we decided to reallocate those funds into better programs like My Life, My Choice and girls' education and mentoring services. So it's just kind of like, to support, victims of human trafficking and sexual assault and so on and so forth, just to kind of clear their name,
Right.
But the real interesting stuff kind of comes in down here. So we have $9.1 million. Here it is. So make one substantially larger gift of $6.5 million in 2003, which is the same year of the birthday book.
Okay.
To create a program called the Program in Evolutionary Dynamics, or
Evolutionary Dynamics.
Yes, PED.
Okay.
Oh boy.
PED ped.
So it's a very interesting acronym for this program, but yeah, evolutionary dynamics, which is tied to like genetics and species and game theory and all that stuff.
Game theory.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which we'll see a little bit more of that later, but I just wanted to show you guys that this program is actually headed by Martin Nowick himself. That's why he is writing for the Epstein Institute. So I'm guessing that they wanted to attach his name to it, but because he donated $6.5 million. But
okay, I see.
The program of evolutionary dynamics is the program that the Epstein Institute funded. So that's what this textbook is, basically.
So that is what he's talking about in this document.
Yes. So
mathematics of life.
Exactly.
Okay.
And he
Primordial
funded this.
soup here or elsewhere generated a quasi-species of aperiodic macromolecules. Quasi-species live in sequence space, which is a collection of hyperdimensional cubes. Each cube arises by ordering all possible sequences of a certain length in such a way that nearest neighbors differ in only one position. The length of the genome determines the dimension of the cube. A very small gene, for example, lives in a 1,000-dimensional cube. Interesting. So.
So, and it says 1 out of 10 to the 600 power possibilities. For comparison, there are only 10 to 80 power protons in our universe. Meaning that this is like such a larger quantity of. That's only our protons. So that's like protons are small. So,
right. So this is minute. Right.
This has got to be some other, maybe extra dimensional. I mean, hyperdimensional.
So that's the point, right? I guess that's why it would be extra dimensional, all the possibilities.
Reminds me of quantum computers, too. I mean, qubits, right? You have a qubit that can be both a 1 and a 0 and everything in between. So you end up getting, like, insane number of possibilities. I mean, anybody's
See, what I wonder, this would be the foundation for what they're trying to do. When you pair the qubits, you get more, more accurate reading in the quantum computers.
Because it gives you more options, right?
Right. So I wonder if this is the foundation for that. Is that the quasi-species that,
I mean,
being the base process for the quantum computer.
Possibly.
Whoa, I'm just now putting that together.
I mean, when it comes to quantum computers, we even have some other people. So if we scroll down a little bit, we can skip past some of this, but we'll come back to it. We have, this name right here, Martin Nimsky. And he's wishing him happy birthday. So Martin Nimsky is probably the one that put this whole section in the book, which is interesting because when you go to Martin Minsky, he actually, when you look him up, you find out he's an MIT professor.
Okay.
And so that's not Harvard, but that's still
so
Boston,
MIT
right?
had
And
ties to Epstein
had ties
as well.
to Epstein as well. So here's their version of what we showed you with Harvard.
Yeah.
He obviously donated less money. He only donated $850,000. And that was between 2002 and 2017.
So this was even after he
his
had been
conviction.
convicted for the first time in
Exactly.
2008.
So they obviously have less morals than Harvard, or maybe less, they need more money.
Less awareness,
Less
maybe?
awareness, yeah. So right here we have 2002 and 2017, Epstein made 10 separate gifts, totaling in $850,000. Earliest gift was $100,000 in 2002.
Okay.
Support the research of late Professor Marvin Minsky. Marvin Minsky is the guy that wrote in the book, and this is a year before the book was written.
Okay.
Meaning, he probably wrote in the book to kind of thank Epstein for his $100,000 donation.
Right.
But it also means that, they were kind of getting connected. Like, he's kind of whining and dining him a little bit.
He actually, right. I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's a little deeper than that. Like, their connection was probably
More
a little
personal.
more. I don't know.
Martin Minsky has his own his own connection to artificial intelligence.
Okay.
He is...
Was he the...
Well, I think he was connected to creating... Oh, no, was he? No, Seth Lloyd. So, okay. So, $100,000 was given to Minsky, and $225,000 was given to Professor Lloyd, who is another professor, and he actually is known for creating the first realized design for a quantum computer.
And this is through MIT.
Yes. And these are so Lloyd actually received donations post-conviction. So Epstein was kind of later into his game, and he started funding Lloyd, who was known for realizing quantum computers. So I guess quantum computers were more theoretical around the time of like 2002, 2003, but they became kind of more pertinent around the time when he was funding Lloyd. So it makes me wonder what that money was, really going towards, or maybe what money outside of MIT was being used if he...
Yeah. If he was working with Harvard and MIT, there's no telling who else he also was donating to. Scientifically speaking, it could have been various different private organizations as well that don't have to account for where they got the money.
Or even if it's not money that he's exchanging favors of sorts. So it's very interesting stuff. Minsky actually is connected to artificial intelligence. So he's one of the supposed founders of artificial intelligence. Like he is known for kind of being a pioneer of early machine learning and all that stuff, which is very interesting because this is 2002 and like 2003, which is like way before AI ChatGPT came out much later in like
of course.
2019, 2018, I don't know.
Right.
Probably a little bit before that, but they were probably doing research.
So Google actually started doing their AI research in 2002 also.
Oh, so it was probably around this time.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. So I think that there were multiple organizations actually working on this. The idea of quantum mechanics was it the 40s?
Probably, wow. So they've had some time to kind of research it, but they didn't have the supercomputers or the quantum computers to really calculate this, research. Like AI needs higher...
the Turing test was 1950, which means, they've been working on this sort of thing for a long time. It's not anything new. So, but technology has advanced to the point where they're able to actually advance the study and research for progressing artificial intelligence. Right.
Very interesting stuff here. So, back to the book right here. We're talking about quasi-species, which are...
right. Back to the quasi-species thing. This is really wild.
It's kind of like some sort of extra-dimensional consciousness,
It seems like it to me, right? So, shall we play the video? Is that where we want to go? What was...
This is Noack. And
Noack.
He is... he's the one who worked with, Harvard, but... I know Professor Lloyd, wrote a book called Programming the Universe, which basically kind of talks about how life might be a simulation, or he believes life's a simulation.
So simulation theory.
And possible ways of kind of reworking your own life to fit within the confines of the simulation and maybe give yourself a better outcome. It's kind of like hacking the matrix.
What is it called? Manifestation.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
In a way, but a more mathematician point of view, so they stay scientific. So yeah, with this quasi-species, though, it's very interesting. Did we want to play this video?
Yeah.
So we can start with this one.
This is a quasi-species represented as a cloud of various mutants interacting together. Sometimes little variants emerge and express phenotypical advantages. This guy is a very fit variant and will persist for a while. When remdesivir is provided, the mutation rate increases in every part of the population and leaders fail to emerge. The cohesion of the quasi-species is compromised and the population vanishes.
Okay.
So in a way, it killed it.
So that's really interesting. It's
Viruses are capable
the
of
idea
doing
that
dangerous things for large life forms.
hang on a second, let's stop that. So the idea that there's some sort of I don't know, the fact that it wipes out everything, the idea that this quasi-species is a viral concept as well, virology, right? We're talking about viruses, and the fact that the mutation, a simple mutation, can create this new strain, which is more adept, and the existing virus or whatever, it's
life form or something. Cells, right? Living cells that
end up dying off.
They die off.
So, and this makes me think of the whole game theory thing. I don't know, it seems connected.
We definitely did some research on game theory when it comes to like, how do genetic traits kind of impact an entire population, which we found a YouTube channel called Primer, which was a really good simulation of what it's like to see like game theory unfold in kind of a large scale.
So game theory, right, is behavioral science, right? And it determines, within this Primer video, there were a few that were depicting different traits of a person, whether or not they're altruistic or they're cowardly or they're going to take advantage in a selfish way.
Yeah, like an imposter, right?
Yeah, somebody who's going to pretend to be harmless, but is not, does not have the other person's best interest at heart, right? And so in playing out these models, it seemed that, the person with altruism was always being destroyed in the end, right?
Their population would die off. They can't pass on their gene because others would end up taking advantage of that and, finding their own selfish ways to benefit from the existence of this altruism, but, not actually
taking advantage of other people's good intentions, right? To feed themselves, which, was there a point where in the book he touches on what is it? What did we I don't know. I'm not sure exactly where it was, but so the quasi-species concept, if it's talking about extra-dimensional beings, that is, I don't know, if linking back to the quantum mechanics and the whole concept of him furthering artificial intelligence and the study of just the various different aspects of quantum mechanics and artificial intelligence and the furtherance of AI and how it's developed and put into practice in society today. It's the genetics of humanity is also another thing that he was working on, right?
Especially at Zorro Ranch.
So that's the thing. I'm really surprised that nobody's talking about these scientific exploits of Epstein.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking at how horrible he was to women, and that's just your moral character, And moral character is there's a lot of people who have a lot of money and have no moral character or a bad character.
Exactly.
So, but I mean, when you have somebody that has that much influence with people of power,
they have more,
and also with the money to
fund
things,
whatever they want.
Yeah, and he's talking about, there was a point where he said he wanted to just populate the world with his own seed.
Yeah, I know we have an article here somewhere that kind of goes into a lot of that. It's this one.
Okay.
Jeffrey Epstein hoped to seed human race with his DNA, and it was kind of talking about, he hoped to seed the human race with his DNA by impregnating women at his vast New Mexico ranch, which is Zorro Ranch.
Right.
And
but the Zorro Ranch, I mean, it makes it sound like he just wanted to have a bunch of women over and have sex. But actually, there was a laboratory there.
Exactly. I heard about that. They were talking about, I mean, obviously the sex trafficking and all that, which is tied to it. But in this article, I know they talk about different scientists that he surrounded himself with. He definitely had a lot of echo chamber in his life. So what
people
one of these
who agreed with him on his views and wanted to support and promote the same exact concepts. They were all sort of these globalists who are really looking down on the useless feeders.
Yeah.
Just wanting to
benefit
further their
from
own agenda.
Their own agenda. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I know that one of them was talking about how he would find researchers and scientists and bring them together in a giant hall where they'd all feast and drink wine and he would stand up and be this scientific guru that that to all these scientists that are way
More
smarter than him. But one of the scientists called him out on his bullcrap. They were they called him on something he said, and he ended up changing the subject, and then later they joked, "You're voted off the island."
Oh,
and so it's because he
sort
disagreed with him and had scientific backings to disagree with him, he just got ousted from the group. Meaning, you have to play by his rules, play his game to really, fit in with his crowd.
Right.
Which could be a precautionary measure. I mean, we don't know what other things were going on with these researchers, and if,
interesting.
They were finding ways to, Stephen Hawking. I mean,
he went to the
island and supposedly paid for little people to have sexual relations with them.
Oh my gosh, okay.
It was reported that, so it's they find ways to meet your needs if you meet his needs. And being, research, right? Yeah, if he wants to... You talked about him in your transhumanist episode, didn't you?
Who's the guy? The guy that was in charge of... Sophia, the AI,
the AI robot. Yeah,
he received funding from
Epstein as well.
Yes.
So I mean, that was something that's not reported because it wasn't through an institution.
Right.
So he had some kind of
fact,
private funding.
It was a a scholarship, a grant that he was awarded to start COG, his AI organization.
Wow.
And I can't recall the guy's name at the moment.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, we can always link it later. But yes, so there's a lot of connections to transhumanism and AI. Actually, later in this article, here it is, Harvard's program of evolutionary dynamics. There's that again.
Here as well.
With
Henry
Mr.
Kissinger?
Pinker. So Henry Kissinger. Wait. Oh yeah.
Oh, Lawrence Krauss. I'm sorry, I saw the K.
Well, speaking of Henry Kissinger, we have some more stuff on him later. But
in a sex scandal.
So, where is it? So there is a certain document that I found where he gave personal funding
Humanity Plus. This
Ben
is it.
Gertzel.
Gertzel. Ben
Yes.
Gertzel. He's the guy. Humanity Plus is the name of the organization that they
Exactly.
started, and he's the one who's in charge of. It's not found.
It's not found. However,
that's interesting.
the good thing here's a pro tip: if you ever have an
Okay.
article that's not found, just go to the Wayback Machine.
Okay.
And
So Gertzel, he's the cog. Cog was the name of. I can't remember.
that was the name of his.
Yeah, with
organization.
Sophia.
Oh, so
Gertzel is the guy's
he
name.
is the guy.
He
so
is the
this
guy.
is Gertzel's personal resume, actually. If we can find it. They don't want to show it.
That's interesting.
I was able to look at this just a little bit.
He's
ago.
been erased. He's paid to have himself erased, probably.
Already.
Yeah.
Here it is. So you actually can look through his own personal resume.
Wow, look at this.
And he was CEO and chief scientist, BioMind.
Oh my goodness
he
gracious.
Is he's related to AGI, so artificial general intelligence, which
okay.
is what
Which is the step before superintelligence, right?
exactly.
This is where
I mean, right here it says
just before the singularity.
exactly.
Yeah.
And here he is, second conference on artificial general intelligence and machine consciousness workshop. They're trying to find machine consciousness,
Yeah.
which might be tied
and
to
that goes back to the
quasi-species.
quasi-species, right? Where yes, exactly. So this is where science is really very interesting.
Mm-hmm. And another thing, I wanted to kind of find it exactly. We do have a certain point where maybe it's not in here in this one.
So
he got specific funding. He got $100,000 from Epstein.
From
And
Epstein,
it's in here somewhere, but
okay, yeah.
definitely shows some of the credentials of the people he was funding directly. Like
Okay.
paying out of pocket to fund general intelligence, machine consciousness,
Yeah.
artificial intelligence, quantum mechanics.
So I'd like to insert here my opinion of the whole quasi-species as it pertains to the quantum mechanics and the general intelligence and all of that. As a Christian, I look at this as the Bible talks about there being a veil, right? There's this separation. And in my mind, when I hear the idea that there's a veil, that's my opinion. In my opinion, that's what, they talk about, what is it called? The firmament.
Oh, yeah,
right?
definitely.
Now, in my mind,
It's
the
a
idea
dome,
of the
right?
firmament is the separation, right? It's a separation between the heavenlies and our world, and in my mind it's a dimensional thing.
It's not like physical.
So I mean, they've determined, our government through its investigation of our extraterrestrials, they have determined that they are interdimensional beings who come in and out of, and so therefore they're learning to pierce through the veil.
Exactly.
Okay?
They're not just flying here on a saucer. From
I mean, they have that when they manifest in physical form.
Maybe they do.
I mean, they can travel through
but who's
space
to say they're
and time,
not,
right?
Yeah, using space and time, which is our fourth dimension.
Right.
To,
and if these are fallen angels that have access to heavenly technology because they were in heaven before they were cast out of heaven, and they had access to all of God's machine
knowledge.
Working, right? Whatever that looks like, then they would be utilizing that type of knowledge, the forbidden knowledge
through
to
this dimensional barrier.
Exactly, piercing through the dimensions. And so in my mind, these quasi-species would be sort of like mini little portals opening up for the other dimensions, these intelligences to come through.
And
that's my opinion.
Quantum computing is breaking through
into other dimensions. So they already, it's already common knowledge, I guess, if you look at it from that perspective.
To this sort of research that we have.
That Epstein was involved with. So, I'd like to turn the direction of our conversation now to, who he was connected to, right? So who would be funding him? Because he was a man of little means. He was tapped on the shoulder to be involved in these gifted and talented programs because he showed that acumen. And now here he is funding these major scientific exploits. So there's got to be some intermediary there that
where he
brought
accumulated
him
this
to
wealth.
this,
Yeah.
right?
And I
Now-
mean, Victoria's Secret, right? That
Right,
supposedly.
Wexner.
Yeah.
Les Wexner, is that
I
his name?
think so.
So, yes. So he was the
supposedly
first
funded
person
a lot of that.
that allowed him to sort of like, what is it? Govern his monetary exploits.
Yeah. But
Not saying that right, but on the stock market, that
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah, definitely. I think. I mean, who put together the birthday book?
Okay, so we're looking at
Ghislaine
Ghislaine Maxwell. And Ghislaine Maxwell,
She's
the daughter.
definitely the daughter of
Of-
somebody very powerful
Yes.
named Robert Maxwell. I don't know if you guys know Robert Maxwell, but
yeah, let's go
we
into
have some
who Robert
some
Maxwell is.
interesting, findings on that. So Robert Maxwell is a financier, a banker. He actually was a publisher, like a media publisher.
Media publisher. Okay.
So he born in modern day Ukraine, actually.
Ukraine.
So
yeah, Czechoslovakia.
Czechoslovakia, which
Okay.
is now modern day Ukraine. But he fled the country during World War II to go and work for the British military. So
Okay.
he ended up working for the British Army, and and then later built up Pergamon Press. Pergamon. And I've heard that's in the Bible, right?
Right.
In Revelation, supposedly it's the name of Satan's throne.
Satan's throne. Okay.
So I don't know. Makes me
Press
wonder.
of Satan's throne.
Yeah.
So it's the communication.
Yeah, department
Satan.
for Satan. Supposedly, that's what people say. However, Pergamon Press actually is a they're an academic publishing organization, so
Okay.
it kind of ties into the
Interesting
whole
that the
Epstein
devil would
thing.
be in charge of our
Academics.
programming.
Exactly. I mean,
Yikes.
he ended up funding. What was it? Well, so British Printing Corporation, Mirror Group newspaper, Macmillan Publishers, and what I guess is not mentioned here is McGraw-Hill. McGraw-Hill is known for being like the textbook that anything from kindergarten to 12th grade is taught through these textbooks. Anybody in kindergarten to 12th grade in the United States is typically taught through McGraw-Hill textbooks.
Okay.
So
he had a monopoly on the educational system and the communication that was used to teach all of America, or all of the world?
All of America.
How far
for
did
the
it
most
go?
part. It is international.
It is an international.
He did say, so his tactics were, he was the first one to really create a profitable academic publishing group. So before academics was not very profitable. I mean, you had to fund research. I mean, obviously you see all these millions of dollars of grants go into research. Somebody has to pay that. But he found a loophole. So his tactic was to make it so that in order to be accredited academically, you need to be peer reviewed. And so how do you get that peer review?
You have to be published. Right.
And so how do you get published? Well, you have to submit your findings to publishers. But if you're not being reached out to and funded by these publishers, you're not going to get into a journal. So how do you get around that and build your academic credibility? Well, you submit for free. So he found a way to where all academics that wanted to be published in his group had to submit for free.
Okay.
And he wouldn't pay them. He'd pay them in exposure, and say, "Oh, here, we'll create an international journal of chemistry for you. We'll create an international journal of this for your findings in this book, but it needs to be updated every year. So we need you to write another book next year, and we need to write another book next year. So everything published before gets, that's old, that's discredited, that's not up-to-date scientific research.
Right. So because it was updated on a regular basis and people needed to distribute new
textbooks and everything.
Right, updated.
Kind of found a way. I mean, you hear people complaining about college textbooks costing so much. I mean, he's pretty much the reason for it, right? You can't just buy your friend's textbook who took the class last year because you need volume 9 instead of volume 8, right?
So he's the one who monopolized on the educational system in America.
Exactly.
Okay.
And like you said, it's a monopoly, right? He had full control over it. I mean, look at
Yeah.
that face. He had his luxury yacht, the Lady Ghislaine, named after his daughter.
His daughter, right.
So he definitely loved his daughter and had a deep connection to her. I mean, he had other daughters. He had and a son or two, but
So there were other siblings, but
there were
he
other
was
siblings, but he-
really focused on her
Ghislaine,
for some
yeah.
reason.
Which is very interesting. I mean, down here we have we have an interesting picture of there he is next to Henry Kissinger.
Right.
Kissinger is a very prominent political figure. I mean, here we have him as a diplomat, political scientist, United States Secretary of State under Richard Nixon. I mean, he's had his own controversies.
And
in the past.
Ford.
And
Goodness.
Ford, General Ford.
Yikes.
Gosh. So he was also a Jewish refugee fleeing the Nazis.
So they have this in common.
Kind
That's
of
interesting.
Like a similar origin. He also served in the U.S. Army during World War II. So
Okay.
I mean, Maxwell was British, but Kissinger was American. So he
Well-
also attended Harvard. Well, he wasn't
He was
American.
German,
he was German,
but
he served for America.
Yeah.
And nuclear weapons, foreign policy, even campaigns of Nelson Rockefeller,
Rockefeller,
who we all know has his own ties to
Right.
the banking and global elites.
So
right?
Rockefeller also was it was him, right? Who the Balfour thing.
Education, right? Rockefeller's the one who started the whole education.
Well, the American Medical Association.
Medical Association. That's what
right.
it was.
So there's just a lot going on here.
But
yeah.
so we see
So-
these connections.
So
But-
Kissinger was a man of the world, though. It wasn't just America that he was involved with in these exploits. He was
Soviet Union, China.
He was an advisor to governments of all sorts.
Yeah,
not just
definitely.
America.
He had his connections. I mean, he's involved with the Bolivian and Chilean coup d'états and
Yeah.
Argentinian military, Bangladesh and Bangladesh genocide. Gosh, war
So-
crimes of civilian death tolls, and I mean, it's just like there's so much here.
but there, here it shows again. It's not someone who is committed to America's best interest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're talking about another one of those hawks if you're looking at
Yeah.
game theory, right?
Yeah.
The whole behavioral. Okay.
No, yeah, definitely. I think he had his connections. Which, speaking of Epstein, we got
So here we have
Kissinger's name and address in his
book.
So, I mean, how did he get that connection? I mean, who introduced him to Kissinger?
Right.
I mean, the only person that I can think of that
Would be Maxwell.
would be Maxwell. I mean, he's close enough to even be in images with him.
Yeah.
That
he looks
and
like he's trying to avoid being in
Yeah,
this
he's
picture.
like, don't take a picture of me.
Right.
I mean,
it's interesting because in the 50th birthday book, it
Uh-huh.
states that one of his friends is saying something about how, I remember the days we grew up in, next to nowhere, but here we are, and we ended up traveling the world, and I can't believe all the things that we've done together. And he starts naming these different people that they would spend time with. And one of them was Toto. They were all not
Like
names. They
codenames,
were like
right?
code names.
Yeah.
And they all had, quotation marks around them, remember that guy.
You'll know. You know, 'cause, I
Right.
mean, the book was for Epstein, so he definitely knows
Exactly.
everybody's name.
And they kept referring to the old man, right? And so in my mind, the old man, the first person that jumps in my mind would be, Maxwell.
Maxwell himself,
would be,
right?
Yeah. And there's also another part where someone mentions, I remember when we met the Maxwells on that day, and we had been traveling the world and all these different things, and we met the Maxwells, and is that the first time you met their teenage daughter? Ghislaine.
And I don't know, because that's interesting, because some people even mention, like, Maxwell died. He fell off his boat naked.
Right.
Had a heart attack.
Yes, that's a little
and that was like
concerning.
That he couldn't have known Epstein because he had died before he met Ghislaine.
Okay.
But in the book it even mentions Maxwell, which
Yeah.
means that he had to have known
him.
Maxwell. I mean,
Yeah.
if Maxwell was so fond of his daughter that he named a boat after her. He probably was connected to every guy she met. You know, she has to introduce the men she has in her life to her father, right? And so he had to have met Epstein
Maxwell
before.
was known, people considered that he was probably connected to Mossad, right?
True.
But you were saying that he had connections to maybe KBG,
KGB, and
KGB
the
and
MI6.
The MI6,
so
right?
It seems like he was.
Well, would it have been MI5 at that time? Well,
Possibly.
MI5, MI6, whatever it was, you know, the
exactly British intelligence.
Yeah,
and I mean Israeli intelligence is a big talking point right now, and I feel like there's definitely some connections there. I mean, what is it? Epstein's penthouse was like right up to the Israeli embassy, and there's a lot of connections to that. But I think that Robert Maxwell was more connected towards like he has information. He can sell it to one organization and they'll give him whatever he wants for that. But what does he do? He has an asset that is generating revenue by selling it, right? He's a businessman. He knows why not sell it to the other guys and the other guys over here. Like I can get triple the amount of pay for one asset instead of just keeping my allegiance to them. So he definitely had a large, roster of people and
just
connections
monopolizing on all of it rather than being committed to anyone. Interesting. Yeah,
makes me wonder about like how he met those people and who did he pass it on to. I mean, after he died, somebody had to get his Rolodex, right?
Well, and that would have been his favorite daughter, right?
Exactly.
And his favorite daughter ended up in cahoots with Epstein. So I would think, since nobody really knows where Jeffrey Epstein got his money, it was probably Maxwell's money.
Maybe his money, maybe his connections for investment, and then like to make the right investments to then multiply your wealth. I mean, if he was a businessman, I mean, Ghislaine probably bankrolled him a little bit. I mean, if they were such good friends that lending your friend $20 if you're a multi-millionaire is kind of like lending your friend $1 million, right? A small loan of $1 million.
Right. I mean, if you have that kind of money,
exactly,
it's possible. And so then the question is, if Mr. Maxwell was such a prominent guy, where did his prominence come from? And, was he tapped on the shoulder by the global elites?
Exactly.
And that maybe it's a just a higher force that is trying to manipulate all of the nations for their own personal goals to be achieved.
That makes me think about Sean Diddy Combs, right?
Oh, right.
Diddy being like, everybody's saying, oh, it's Diddy. He's the one that did it. He masterminded this. It was his house that he had the parties at. Everybody can say it was him. But do you really think it was just him? Like,
right. They throw him under the bus so that nobody looks any further. And that's the same thing that's happening with Epstein.
And,
right.
I mean, Weinstein was involved with, like, that whole era. And, like, there's so many weird people in Hollywood that, like, Diddy couldn't have been the first. Right? I mean,
no, way back when, Shirley Temple was
she definitely
put in difficult situations. I mean, there are stories of way back in the beginning of Hollywood that this was, okay, so here comes some deep stuff. I mean, if you want to think about it, have you ever heard of the Jesuit theater? So
I've heard of the Jesuits, but Jesuit theater is more like...
So the Jesuit theater. So Hollywood is the extension of the Jesuit theater, and Jesuit theater was supposedly designed originally to manipulate the minds of the people, the masses, through their
what they're like consuming,
their entertainment, to change their
beliefs
and morals, or just a little bit at a time to degrade their.
I've heard about what I'm saying? Like putting it in the public's view so that you can get away with it later. Plausible deniability being like, well, we told you, right?
Yeah. No, right, exactly. And that is the way of the devil. If he can throw it out there and nobody complains about it or resists it, then he's gonna go for it. You have to put your foot down.
Yeah.
So, whether it's actually physical people doing this thing or if it's just man who is being manipulated spiritually by these, dimensional beings.
Forces, yeah.
And if they are intentionally, if there are people of high status and power within the world of governments around the world that are actually promoting the furtherance of this interdimensional communication through artificial intelligence
and
connected
quantum.
to quantum computers. I mean, they're taking their orders from
Yeah, directly
The
from
other realm,
The other
the
realm.
dark
and they made
side.
it easier than ever. You can just load up an app on your phone now and do it
Here we
instead
are.
of, having to do a seance ritual to summon
exactly.
spirits. It's like
Yes.
the seance ritual is just on a Black Mirror.
Well, the scrying mirror made of
Yeah.
obsidian that was the original,
Way of
communicating with the other side.
It's very interesting stuff.
It's connected.
It definitely feels connected. I mean, Epstein had plenty of deeper connections. I mean, we have Alan Dershowitz is mentioned in here. He's the lawyer for what was it? If the glove does
right.
not fit, you must
You
acquit.
must
Right?
acquit.
The dream team, right, for
Yeah.
OJ.
OJ 's
And OJ was a controversial figure. We had
right.
what's his name? Alan Dershowitz was also the lawyer for Harvey Weinstein and even Donald Trump for his impeachment. So
boy.
he's connected to everybody. And
Goodness
and
gracious.
speaking of Donald Trump, we definitely have a lot of mentions of him in here. We have some.
Where's the image of the...
Well, here's the direct Donald Trump thing. I mean, that's his signature right there, and that doesn't look like a grown woman. That looks like a child. I don't know.
my
It's
goodness.
like
right.
it feels off.
A young woman,
A
anyway.
young woman. Sorry. But
Could be.
you never know. But we have that image earlier. We pulled up. Let me look at where that one is in the book. I have it right here. We have. Oh yeah, Alan Dershowitz is mentioned right here.
Okay.
There he is. Happy birthday, gift to you.
Vanity
Unfair
Unfair
article.
article. Okay, so he's the one who put that together?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
And that
That's
one's
funny.
weird. That one's talking about,
Jack the Ripper?
Jack the Ripper.
Could it have been Epstein?
Oh no, Al Qaeda. What is this? Consume me, intoxicate me. Like that's
Ugh. So
very
weird. And it's Nicole Kidman.
Kidman.
Nicole Kidman's father was sort of a Maxwell sort.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Well,
that
oh
one.
my gosh. I mean, theoretically, I don't know if that's true, but that's what some people say.
True.
So, this next couple of pictures, yeah.
So up here we have some weird imagery. I mean, it's
Here he
Epstein
is in
giving a
83.
freaking lollipop to children.
Little girls.
Little girls.
Specifically girls,
And
yeah.
now he's on Mar-a-Lago's resort.
So that's 20
Trump's
years
resort.
later.
It's the Lolita, and he's
Flying
getting massages
into-
from awfully young-looking women. Here we have this check, which this is what really freaks me out. I mean, look, it says to Jeffrey Epstein in the sum of $22,500, and it's signed by Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So he's giving Epstein $22,500
For
at
what,
Mar-a-Lago
though? Right.
for something.
Definitely showing early talent with money and,
And
women.
women.
Sells fully depreciated, I
Redacted.
don't know what, to Donald
Donald
Trump
Trump.
for $22,500.
So,
Early people skills, too.
quote unquote people skills.
Even though I handled the deal, I didn't get any of the money.
Or
the girl.
Meaning that the girl
Is the
was-
girl what they were
they
selling?
were selling, possibly. That's what it seems like. So he sold a woman to Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago for $22,000.
Well, he's saying he didn't get the girl. Oh,
Well, no, that's
this
the
is
other guy.
somebody
The guy
else
who
who's
handled the
talking
money is
about
the
it.
one who
Okay, the person
didn't
who
get
wrote
the
this,
girl.
right.
Yes.
Yikes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Goodness gracious.
Very interesting stuff here. So I don't know. It just there's a lot of stuff in this book that
That can be
seems
interpreted
like, definitely
very badly.
So I don't know. I don't know how to feel about just everything combined. I mean, here's a fun one right here. International Funny Man of History revealed as alien in disguise. Strange beings from planet near distant star hatch sinister plot to corner choice real estate on Earth.
Wow.
They all exhibit curious aversion to food and wine. Ex-president taken in.
Very interesting.
I mean, who's the next president? that's mentioned here.
Oh,
This is definitely
that would be Clinton, right?
Definitely Clinton, which we have at page 126. So, I mean, can't really read it, but that definitely says Bill Clinton. And
Definitely says Bill Clinton.
And that was what Ghislaine was saying, was that she mentioned numerous accounts of Epstein and meeting with Bill Clinton and being involved.
And
with
so
him,
going back to the whole Lolita Express and Bill Clinton,
that
and
plane, right?
Hillary Clinton being on the plane, wasn't Hillary on the plane a time or two?
I think possibly.
Yeah, and so when the whole Pizzagate thing was going on, and just the different expectations with. Or not expectations, investigations that were done on that scenario with Podesta, who was in charge of Hillary Clinton's, the Democratic Party's campaign.
True.
And just varying different people who were
mysterious
involved in
and
weird things that had to do with adrenochrome and children.
$22,500 purchases of pizza.
Yes, right, in code words that were in the FBI book and symbolism on the logos and all of that, and the underground tunnels that linked one to the next, and of course it's all discredited because some crazy guy went in there with a gun, but and then it gets
kind of like the
chewed
media
off
push,
right. And
then everybody's talking about the Super Bowl the next day, right?
So him being in close cahoots with Bill Clinton, or at least a close relation to him, and all of that happened, the spirit cooking, and so
what's her name,
Abramovich,
right,
so I mean, these people, in the book it also mentions vampires, not just aliens and things, but vampires too. Calls him a vampire.
Wow.
So that refers to blood drinking,
exactly.
I mean, or sucking your energy
from others.
It could be just about anything. So I mean, the implications are there. There's no real proof of anything except for what we are piecing together. We're interpreting it, but
I
it's
would
not.
definitely say take a look at this yourself and make your own opinions, because there's a lot of
incriminating evidence, or incriminating, not evidence, but what is it called, where it's circumstantial evidence, right?
Supposedly.
So
I don't know. There's a lot here, and I do really feel like this whole quasi-species thing is a little bit more to it that we don't see. And I'm hoping that when they do release those files, that maybe we'll get some of the evidence. I mean, they raided his New York apartment. They raided the island. I haven't heard of them raiding his ranch yet, so I would love to know.
Actually, I heard that the ranch was sold.
So they sold it,
and
so they already
somebody
cleared
bought
it
it and maybe tore it down and built something else on top of it, or something like that. I don't know. I feel like I heard that. Who cloned Tyrone?
I'm just saying.
That was a good movie.
What's underground, right?
Yeah.
But no, I would love to know what sort of research is going on there. Like, if there's any files that kind of pertain to that, and if that would be released, or if that's going to stay under the hand of Kash Patel and Pam Bondi.
Oh, right. I mean, how do you keep a country together when everybody's so divided? I mean, this isn't going to keep it together. And when we are not together and we're divided, we're vulnerable as a nation. So, I mean, it's a sticky slope. How do you manage it? I can't help you with that.
But I don't know.
But I like to be aware.
Exactly. I think everybody should be aware.
For sure.
I think more people should be looking at this now that kind of the air is cleared a little bit, politically speaking, that we can kind of...
Politically speaking, I don't trust either side.
Oh, me either.
I'm an independent. I don't, I look at people's moral standards and their true character, and try to find out what their true character is, which is a difficult thing. So the rest, I just pray. And I ask God to lead me. And that's all we can do at this point, know.
Definitely.
But we're to be as wise as serpents and as gentle as doves. So, keep researching.
And if these are the serpents that are in charge, we need to at least look into what they're doing.
Try not to be a dove to their hawk, though.
Exactly. But wow, thank you for this conversation.
Right.
I really appreciate
thanks for joining me. For sure. And thank you for joining us, for sure. So I hope you've enjoyed what we've discussed and that you'll, take a look yourselves and try to
Make your own
formulate your own,
conclusions.
opinions. Okay, well, have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening today, and I hope you catch us again next time when we start another conversation about the things your pastor is afraid to talk about. This is Audra Moore, and you're listening to Evil's Ancient Origins. Look for us on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever your favorite podcasts are found.